Hey, what's up, guys? So, if you're watching this, this is either the beginning of an OCT YouTube video breaking down Sandusky and what happened at the end, and a rule update that actually negatively affects me that almost played a factor here, but it didn't, thank God. But now I have something written in place where nothing controversial can ever happen to an admin down the road. Or you're at the end of my personal YouTube. I'm putting this at the end of the part three because the end of this tournament was so crazy that I feel like it deserves a breakdown. Um, so what happened was we have a lot of vets in this tournament. A lot of vets. Josh Snyder, Ryan Boris, Kayak Mike, Aaron Grubb, Joel to an extent. Joel started this year, but this isn't his first event. Mark Bennett, Chris Minahan, Tyler Lowe. Like, there's a lot of guys in this who have fished multiple events for multiple years. So at the end of the tournament, Ryan and I are sitting back at camp, and I'm just like, you know what? I'll just judge these fish on Tuesday. This tournament was on a Sunday. I'm like, I'll just judge these fish on Tuesday. So many vets were in this. I'm sure we'll be fine. But then Ryan gets a message from Austin Harding saying like, "Congrats for third place," because um, Austin realized he forgot his identifier in his big fish. So he did the math and he realized he was now being kicked out of because Austin was originally third, Ryan was originally fourth, so Austin was going to be kicked out of third and Ryan was going to bump up to third. And I'm just like, so Ryan gets that message and he tells me that, and I'm like, I go and I look, and I'm like, yeah, I guess I gotta DQ this. And then I looked at someone else's fish, and I'm like, oh my god, he had something wrong. And then I'm like, you know what? I should probably judge these fish right now because I don't want people posting the results between now and Tuesday, and then come Tuesday, everything changes, and that's what happened. Guys, a lot of these anglers caught 50 plus fish in this tournament. A lot of these anglers, like I know, me alone, I caught well over 50 fish on the day. There were some anglers who claimed to catch over 70, like, and I actually believe them because I caught well over 50. Almost every there was only two people on this entire board that I did not have to make deductions for or DQs. Every single person, including myself, had some form of deduction, and I'm going to do my best to go top to bottom here and tell you what happened. I don't have a before and after. I could take you into the DQs and deductions that I did behind the scenes, but that would involve bringing up their personal information and like where they fished and stuff. I'm not going to show that. So let's go top to bottom, and I'm going to try and remember the original order and like give you guys a breakdown of how everything changed here. So John actually won big fish in a tournament. He had a 35 plus inch fish. He forgot his identifier. So that was actually the first DQ of the event because he comes back. We're all at the ramp, and John's like, he's like, oh man, dude, I didn't have my identifier in the big fish, but like luckily for him, he had such a damn good day. Even with his big fish gone, he still won the event. Like that's an amazing day fishing at a channel cat lake. Uh, Forget channel cat lake. That score right there wins 99% of tournaments on the Ohio. Guys, from 10th place up wins 99% of all tournaments on the Ohio River strictly by weight. Like, that's just fact. I don't care if you don't agree with me. That is just fact. So, but going down. So, John, he loses big fish, but he still comes in first. Josh Snyder is one of, I think, two people who had no issues with any of his fish. I go through all his fish. He's good to go. I go down to Austin, who was in third, and I DQ his big fish. That dropped him down to like sixth or seventh, I think. Because I finished this event in sixth on merit. On merit, I finished this event in sixth. I actually did not finish in fourth. I got bumped up to fourth due to two disqualifications on two fish from two anglers. So Ryan and I were tied. We were tied exactly in score. The only difference was he had a bigger fish than me, so when there's a tie in score, whoever has the bigger fish, they get the bump in position. So Ryan, me, and Joel Harris were all tied for third place after Austin loses his big fish. So Ryan, myself, and Joel Harris are all tied for third place. Joel has the biggest fish of us three, so Joel's in third, Ryan's in fourth, I'm in fifth. I'm going through Joel's pictures. Joel has an identifier issue in his biggest fish. It was completely unlegible. You couldn't read it. That's the same exact thing as not having identifier at all. Was it clearly the same identifier he used all day? Yeah, but it has to be legible. Like, you have to be able to read read the letters. It's one thing to have like a blurry picture or whatever. It's another thing to have just a completely unlegible identifier. So his biggest fish, completely unlegible. I can't read the identifier at all. That knocks his big fish out. His big fish gets DQ'd. That bumps him down to freaking eighth. That moves Ryan into third. That moves me up to third, tied with Ryan. And then I'm going through Ryan's fish. Ryan's sitting right next to me, and I'm like, dude, you have a quarter-inch deduction right now. He's like, what? And I'm going through. I'm like, yeah, dude, this fish is clearly a quarter-inch smaller than what you submitted it at. And like, guys, no one here tried cheating. Like, this is not what I'm just explaining what happened. When you're catching 50 plus fish in a day, you're going to make mistakes. Like, and it clearly showed in this event. It was the administration of this event was very fun, but also like very scary. So I'm like, dude, you have a quarter-inch deduction, and I'm like, now I'm freaking out because I'm the administrator, and I just went from sixth to a cashing position, and I'm like, this just on paper, no matter what I say to you guys in this camera right now, on paper, if an admin goes from sixth, a non-cashing position, to a cashing position, it just looks bad on paper. Which is we'll get later in this video. We will get to a rule, not change or any. It's not a change or anything. I'm adding a rule to prevent anyone down the road from ever being able to accuse an admin of intentionally disqualifying fish to get himself in the money. You'll see that here in a little bit. So now I'm technically in third. Ryan's in fourth because he just had a quarter-inch deduction. Now I'm beating him by a quarter-inch. And then the rest of the results are still essentially the same as you see them. So I'm going through my fish. No, actually, no, that's a lie. I don't go through my fish to the very end. So I'm going through everyone else's fish. Everyone else down here, every single person except for Josh Snyder and one other person down here had some form of deduction or disqualification that I had to do. These were not the final scores. If anyone had a screenshot of the before and after, I don't think it really changed the positioning much. But there were a lot of instances people were a quarter-inch off where I had both directions where I had to give them a quarter-inch or I had to subtract them a quarter-inch. So there were only two anglers who had their final five perfect. Now, were all their fish perfect? I have no idea. But there were only two anglers who had their final five perfect, and it was somebody down here, and it was Josh Snyder. And I remember that because I just remember going like, oh my god, every single person has something wrong. So I go to judge my fish last. And I go to Ryan, I'm like, I probably don't even have to judge. Like, there's no way I have anything wrong. Like, because I haven't submitted a fish wrong in probably like 40 or 50 events. So I'm going through my fish. Like my fourth fish down. I had a quarter-inch deduction. It was clearly, I think it was this one. I'm 99% sure this fish right here. Where is it? I'm 99% sure. I'll just show you guys. I don't care. It's my fish. It doesn't matter. I'm pretty sure I submitted this fish at 29 inches, and he is clearly 28.75. And I look at Ryan, and like I'm kind of relieved. I am. I'm kind of relieved because I'm like, thank God, because now I'm no longer in a cashing position. Like I'm just in fourth, no longer in a cashing position. Everything's good to go here. I'm like Ryan gets third, but again, it still kind of looks bad on paper because Ryan's my best friend. We stayed together for the tournament. But like honestly, if anyone thinks that I cheated and or did anything wrong, you can just go f yourself. It's that simple. So yeah, it's literally that simple. I don't care what you think. But yeah, that's how we got to these final results. Every single person but two people had some form of deduction. It was insanity, and we are by no means a strict group. Like there's no stupid mouth open rule. Like there's no judgment calls here. Like I'm not. I made no judgment calls. Any deduction or disqualification that I did, it was a black and white no identifier, can't read your identifier, or you just submitted it wrong. There was no like, oh, this is the gray area rule that we're gonna have to adjust. None of that happened. It was all black and white. You're losing a quarter inch, you're gaining a quarter inch, or I just have to flat out DQ this fish. So that's how we got to the final results here. To the rule update. So this wording, I might do a little better job at changing this wording. I added the word "and payouts," administrator entry fees and payouts. So OCT administrators, which is me, I get to fish any event for free that I want. future administrators, if you're watching this video, do that smartly. I only fish the month longs for free, the national month longs. I pay all my regional entries. If I fish Scioto, I pay Scioto. OKCT, I pay to get in OKCT. That's a bigger regional event. And it's a more prosperous one. It's $100 entry fee. Don't abuse this power. I don't charge admin fees. Maybe somebody who takes us over in the future will. But if you're not charging admin fees, there's actually a lot of work that does go into this. So you really should treat yourself in some form or fashion. I fish both. I fish typically the open kayak and the slot tournament for free every single month. That's my payment. I get paid $80 a month to do this, essentially. And there's a lot more than $80 worth of work that goes into it. But I'm adding this caveat too because I dodged a bullet at Sandusky, but knock on wood, like the Ohio guys, they probably wouldn't even have cared. They probably would have just been like pat Mike on the back, like, "Hey, congrats! Like you got up into the cashing position." We we have a lot of really good people in Ohio. I can't stress it enough. We don't have any drama up here. It doesn't exist. If anyone ever talks about like online catfishing tournament drama, and I don't even mean like our brand, I just mean in general, that doesn't exist here. It's created by anglers elsewhere. We don't actually have any drama. I've had to deal with one person all year, and I kicked his ass out of the scene because he's just a big crybaby, and I wanted nothing to do with him anymore. So if you ever hear anything about drama, that doesn't exist here. That's all fugazi, and that's all fabricated by somebody else out there, not us. Um, but let's go to the actual rule. So the OCT administrators can only be paid out up to the position they finished on merit. If an admin were to increase payout position due to DQs and deduction, he is still subject to only the award of the position he finished at on merit. For example, an administrator finishes fifth in an event that pays out 5 competitors, but third and fourth place anglers have deductions, which moves him up to third. The administrator may only be paid out the fifth place total, and the difference between his payout and what he would have received in third will be divided evenly amongst all cashing competitors. So what this means is, and I'm just going to use this tournament as an example. I finished in sixth in this tournament right here. If I got to third, the top 3 people in this tournament cash, if I got to third place in this tournament, you would have took my cash that I would have received for third and divided it amongst the rest of the competitors who cashed. So top 3 would have cashed. So you would have took my third place in this event pays back its entry fee. So you would have took the 100 that I would have won in third, and it would have been split 50-50 between John and Josh, split evenly amongst all the cashing competitors. Because I don't want administrators cashing in events that they don't get on merit. On merit, I finished sixth in this tournament. Like my score, actually, my final score truly had me in sixth place on merit in this tournament. So I didn't earn the cashing position. Some people might make the argument like you earned it because you followed the rules better. No. I didn't earn it on merit. Therefore, I'm not going to receive any awards higher than where I finished on merit. Now, somebody might say like, there's a little gray area there, but I know me. I know I'm not going to abuse this. Um, yeah, that's all I have to say by that. So like, if I know for a fact I came in fifth in a tournament that pays out 5, but then I get bumped up 2 positions to third, I'm only going to be allowed to take the fifth place money, and then the difference between whatever fifth place paid and whatever third place was supposed to pay, that difference will be paid out amongst first, second, fourth, and fifth, all the remaining cashing competitors. Um, so yeah, I'm implementing that. If a future admin doesn't like that, he's more than welcome to change it. But this is one of those fail safes where, like, I started this scene because I wanted to fish a scene that, in my opinion, had better rules and smarter rules. We always add rules if we need to. Like, if I feel like there's something that needs to be added right away, we do it. And this is one of those things where I'm like, okay, this makes sense. This, if anyone ever accuses me of gaining an advantage in a tournament just for money, I can just be like, nah, man, where I finished is where I got paid, period, and the story, and the rest of the money got split amongst everybody else. So I think this is a very good failsafe to have. I don't think any other scene has this. But yeah, I mean, because like, man, there's been situations in the past where some sketchy stuff has happened in some tournaments, nationals, and like some administrators walked away with some money where it was like, did they should they really have walked away with that money? And, yeah. So this is a good failsafe to have. But yeah, that's the breakdown of Sandusky, and thank you for everyone who fished it. We just finished up Cowan. It was a lot of fun. Shout out to Chris, Austin, and Ryan Bortz for fishing that. And then the next tournament is going to be Grand Lake St. Mary's. And you know what? We might as well talk about that here for a second. Tournaments, Ohio Catfishing Trail. So Grand Lake St. Mary's, the sweet thing about this tournament, it's alongside it's alongside a boat tournament, and you're allowed to keep your fish. So you can fish our tournament and the boat tournament where there's actual weigh-ins. If you bring like a laundry basket or something, you can keep your fish at the end to eat if you want, or if you know of a way to keep the fish alive, because it's not a deep lake. The entire lake is 4 to 7 foot deep, like the entire lake. There's a few holes that are break 10, but a laundry basket's more than enough to keep these fish alive all day long, right next to your kayak if you want to do something like that. Um, but yeah, if you want to double up our tournament, their tournament, we're launching. This is one of the ones where we're launching the same exact time as them, and we're coming back the same exact time as them. The only difference is they don't do that. They don't gather up and launch. They have the same exact rules we do with trailering. You show up, you sign up, and then you can leave to go launch your boat somewhere else on the lake if you want to. So it's not like we're all getting together and launching unsafely. They have guys show up for like randomly for like an hour up to their launch time, and they all just like single filely like go out one after another. And the same thing with them. They have lines out time. You got to be back by a certain time. So yeah, kayak guys, if you want to fish this and the other tournament, just let me know. Let's actually see if we can pull the Grand Lake St. Mary's tournament up. It's this series right here, Grand Lake Catfish Tournament Series. This is where you would go to just look into the event. They're going to be right there where we launch, so you could just pay and such right there. And I think it's like $60 or something after that. So this ran a little long, but yeah, I'll see you guys later. Hack Mc out of here.